Yo YouTube, what is going on? It is HIGHMMA, and today we are here to discuss the current state of the UFC Middleweight division. It is kind of crazy right now. Since the last time I was making long form videos like this, the middleweight division has gone from a pretty nice place to be in to an absolute battleground. Everybody's just getting taken out. We've got new names at the top seemingly out of nowhere. Shit's fucking crazy. So I thought I need to come back and I need to break this shit down so you can all understand what the fuck is going on. So last weekend we saw Khamzat Chimaev absolutely dominate DDP. You know, I was picking Chimaev. You all know I'm a huge DDP fan, bro. I have been for a while. But I was picking Chimaev. I was not expecting it to go that way. I thought if he was going to beat DDP, it would just be a round one demolition like it was against fucking Robert Whittaker. But the fight ended up going a little bit more similar to the Usman fight. Well, not that much similar because Usman was actually seeing success, whereas DDP was just kind of getting touched up in the crucifix position. No diddy. But it was kind of weird, man. He was just getting tapped on the head. He couldn't do anything about it. We've seen his coach since saying that they didn't really train for the crucifix position. And against a grappler as dominant as Khamzat, I guess you're not really going to see success, even if you had been training for it anyway. So now we've got Khamzat as champ. He's looking pretty unbeatable. We've got the upcoming matchup of Imavov and Baralho, which we were all thinking in the lead up to the DDP and Khamzat fight that the winner of that will be fighting the winner of DDP and Khamzat. But now we've had Renier de Ridder and fucking Anthony Fluffy Hernandez coming out of nowhere with these amazing performances. Renier going out there in an absolute war with Robert Whittaker, where he did take a lot of damage, so did Robert, but RDR just did the better damage and eventually came out on top. He was using them beautiful body knees that he used to get the win against Bo Nickel. We saw him mixing in the grappling that was working well. His gas tank is a little suspect, but I guess it's gonna be, you know, he's cutting all the way down to 185. He's a big fucking dude, man. But I do worry about that gas tank when he is taking on Fluffy Hernandez. I mean, we saw him completely fucking finished in one championship against that big juiced up motherfucker, I forget his name. And he was super fucking gassed out against Gerald Meerschaert in his debut. Gerald Meerschaert, who just got fucking annihilated by Mikhail Alexejczyk. So, you know, that win doesn't look as good as it could do, especially when you consider that Khamzat went out there and absolutely demolished JM3. It doesn't look too good for RDR. All that being said, I would probably say that the fans are more behind RDR right now than they are Fluffy Hernandez. Fluffy just went out there and got a sick submission over Roman Dolidze, a standing fucking rear naked choke. That shit was disrespectful. Threw his ass on the floor afterwards. I was fucking hyped. I picked Fluffy going into that fight. And honestly, I think I might pick Fluffy going into the RDR fight. I know that RDR is a lot bigger. You know, Fluffy's a kind of like, well, you know, you hear it in his name. He's fluffy. He's kind of a flabby middleweight. He's kind of small. His body is kind of chinny. I heard Bedtime or Lucas Tracy saying it in a video the other day. He kind of has a chinny body and chinny legs. And I do see that too. I think those body knees of RDR could be a huge problem. But I just think the relentless pace and the unstoppable cardio of Fluffy Hernandez is going to be a huge problem for RDR, who does gas out. We've seen him gas out in one way or another in most of his fights so far, whether it be in one championship or in the UFC. But you can't deny that he is a great, well-rounded grappler and that he will see success against Hernandez in one way or another. I do see the fight going to decision more than likely, just because I don't think that Hernandez is going to be able to pull off a submission against a great jiu-jitsu player like RDR. But I think if the damage accumulates as the fight goes on and he gets a decent amount of control time, some good control time in the clinch as well, because that is an area that RDR likes to stay. So if Hernandez can manage to find dominance there, RDR might be kind of fucked, because we do know that he likes to hook against the cage a little bit just to stack up the control time, makes it easier to walk away with the decision win at the end, which we know he likes to do, which he did against Robert Whittaker. But to conclude this segment of the video, I'm going to drop a little early prediction and go out there and say that Anthony Hernandez is going to beat Renier de Ridder by decision, earn himself a title shot. I think if Fluffy wins, he's going to have to wait for the winner of Baralho and Imavov to fight Khamzat. However, I think if RDR wins, they'll actually give him the title shot first. He's got a lot of pull with the fans, and it seems to be these days that is what gives you that little bit of an edge when it comes to getting a title shot. But that is my breakdown. Let's move over to Imavov and Beralho. I'm going to make a little early prediction for this fight. And listen, man, I think we might be looking at a late round TKO for Imavov, man. Listen, man, yo, I just don't see a world where Beralho is going in there with Khamzat Chimaev legitimately as a UFC title fight. After seeing that one, I know you've all seen that one picture, bro, where Beralho is getting little bro to the maximum by Khamzat. You don't even call that shit little broing anymore. You call it sunning. He was getting sunned by Khamzat Chimaev, bro. He looks like a baby, and I just wouldn't be able to take the matchup seriously. I would not be able to see a world where Khamzat doesn't go out there and just absolutely demolish Beralho in the first round. Whereas against Imavov, I could see Imavov maybe seeing some success. You know, we saw Imavov in that Brendan Allen fight. He got completely out-grappled in the first round, but he adjusted well, and for the last 2 rounds, he dominated, getting him that win. I don't see Beralho being able to adjust in that way. We saw even against someone like Cannonier, you know, he took a lot of damage in that fight. A fight where, you know, Beralho can grapple. He could have mixed in the grappling against Cannonier, who's older now. He's a marauder. He just wants to walk forward and plant his big shots like he was trying to do just the other week against MVP. And what happened there? MVP walked away. No marks, no bruises, and absolutely dominated. Beralho couldn't say the same. He walked away with a crazy welt on his face. He also couldn't finish the fight. It was a 5-rounder, but he couldn't finish it in the 5 rounds. Yeah, MVP didn't finish it either, but I would argue he got closer than Beralho did. Beralho had that moment really late in the fight, but MVP was dropping fucking Cannonier in the first round, so I would argue that MVP had the better performance. And also, that fight that Beralho had with Cannonier was a fucking year ago. Like, we saw Imavov in there not that long ago with Adesanya, who is miles better of an opponent than Cannonier is, and he went there and knocked him the fuck out, bro. That was a good fight for Imavov. Like, yeah, he didn't look the greatest. Adesanya was having some moments of success, but it's not like he walked away with loads of damage like Beralho did, and that is the reason why I am not as confident in Beralho going into this fight, man. Like, don't get me wrong, his striking is good, but when you see the fucking precision of Imavov and you see the names he's been in there with, like, even though he's lost to Strickland, he didn't look bad in that loss. He's been in there with fucking Adesanya and smoked him. And we saw in that Adesanya fight, he knows how to jump onto a finish when he's got someone rocked. And I feel like if he rocks Beralho on the feet, he's going to jump straight onto that finish. And I just don't see a world where Beralho is going to survive. So I'm going to lean towards a late rounds TKO for Imavov in this fight. I'm not sure if it's the right pick because Beralho is really good. He's with the fighting nerds. He's kind of got the plot armor. But I feel like running off of wins against Paul Craig and fucking Jared Cannonier over a year ago doesn't impress me as much as beating Adesanya only in February did. So I'm going to roll with Imavov going into this fight. Let me all know what you think down below. Now, before I wrap up today's video, I'm just going to quickly speak on how I see the matchups of the winners of these fights against Khamzat. Now, RDR versus Khamzat, I can see a world where RDR can hang in there, kind of similar to how DDP did, you know, just not allowing Khamzat to have that success within the grappling in terms of attacking a submission. I feel like RDR's defensively pretty well on the ground. He's a great jiu-jitsu player, like I said before, but I do see him eventually gassing out. He does, like I say, he does have a tendency to gas out, and I would see Khamzat finishing him. I don't really see that matchup ending in a submission. I would probably see Khamzat kind of taking RDR's back, getting in some good ground and pound, and RDR just maybe even tapping out to strikes, bro, because, you know, he's got a good chin, but he does strike me as the kind of guy that knows when to tap out. He's not just going to force himself to take damage. He doesn't need to. So give me a Khamzat, maybe round 3 TKO in that matchup. Now, moving over to Beralho, I think I kind of made it clear how I see that fight going. I think that's a round 1 submission for Khamzat Chimaev. Super dominant, similar to the Robert Whittaker fight. I just don't think that Beralho has work on the ground for Chimaev. I see him going in there and just completely walking through him. You know, like I said, bro, when you see that he's already done it in training, you can only imagine the type of confidence that Khamzat would walk into that matchup with. You know, like, take the DDP fight, for example. He's seen DDP in there beating fucking everybody. He's probably not going to have the same kind of confidence as he would with someone that he knows he's already submitted. So I'm going to lean towards Khamzat in both of those matchups. I don't think that there is a world where Imavov or Beralho beats him. Now, against Fluffy Hernandez, on the other hand, I think the match would go a little bit differently. I think it would be a bit more competitive, similar to the Burns fight. I think we would see them slinging it out on the feet a little bit. I think defensively, Anthony's going to be able to hold off some of the submissions of Chimaev. But given the fact that Chimaev is so fucking strong, I think he's just going to be able to outmuscle Fluffy and eventually just hold him down like he did DDP. Think about it, DDP is a big fucking middleweight, completely could fight at light heavyweight. I'm pretty sure he said he plans to move up to light heavyweight eventually in his career, and he got held down by previous welterweight Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat also looks like he could fight at light heavyweight. I don't see a universe where Anthony Hernandez, wait, is that his fucking name? Fluffy Hernandez? I don't know. I'm losing my mind after recording for so long, bro. But I don't see a world where he's going up to light heavyweight. I think there would be a strength and size advantage for Khamzat, and I think he would just be able to outmuscle Fluffy and eventually probably TKO him on the feet to the body. Like I say before, Fluffy doesn't have the strongest body, and Khamzat is very powerful. He has really slept on boxing as well, and I think we could maybe see a body shot TKO for Khamzat. Now, I realized I said I was just going to talk about matching up the winners of the matchups with Khamzat, but now I broke down every fighter, so I might as well break down Imavov versus Khamzat. Now, even though this is probably one of the more likely matchups we're going to see, I actually think it is one of the easier ones for Khamzat stylistically, even though I think Imavov probably beats Baralho, probably could beat Fluffy Hernandez if he found the right body shot. I don't think he beats Khamzat purely because we saw the way that Brendan Allen manhandled him in that first round, and we know that Khamzat is just miles and miles and miles ahead of Brendan Allen in the grappling, especially in terms of attacking a submission. We saw that Brendan Allen couldn't finish Imavov on the ground, but I think that Khamzat could, and I don't think that is crazy to say. And I don't think it really needs much more context than that. I just think that Imavov is going to come out, try and get too cocky in the striking. Khamzat's just going to shoot for a double leg. And that's all she wrote. He's just going to attack the fucking neck, probably get a rear naked choke in the first round. I'm saying it probably isn't even in the second half of the first round, bro. This could be very reminiscent of the Robert Whittaker fight. I think we will see a lot more finishes like that out of Chimaev before at the end of his career, because I just think that there's so many fighters in that middleweight division that just can't hang in there with him on the ground. But that is all for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you've enjoyed the video. I know it's been a minute since I've been on YouTube like this, but the videos, they weren't doing as well. I hope this one does, because I love making the long form videos. If you enjoyed this one, please make sure to comment. If you do, that just gives me more of a reason to make them. If nobody's coming in there, they enjoying them, there's no point making the video. But if you enjoyed this one, make sure you let me know. And I'm going to leave it there. So I hope you all have a nice day, evening, night, whatever the fuck you're doing. And I'll catch you all in the next video. Peace out.